Hey everyone, welcome back to Destination Unknown. On this episode, what are we going to do? We're going to talk to you about the things we don't like about trucking.
But first, I need you to do something very important for us. Hit that subscribe button.
It really helps us when you do that. Alright guys, so what we're going to do is going to go through our list that we put down of things we don't like about trucking. And we're going to discuss it, and then we want you guys to tell us what you don't like, if you agree with us, disagree, all that good stuff. So number one on the list, and well, the first couple of things on the list is like things I don't like about drivers, because they're the ones who drive me, they're the most frustrating ones out here. Number one is drivers love to brag about how much they're making. They always, you meet drivers, you ask them, hey, how you doing and stuff, and they love to tell you, oh, I'm doing this much money and I'm making this many miles and life is great, blah, blah, blah. And you know what? They always exaggerate.
Always.
9 out of 10 times, drivers are lying to you about how well they're doing. I don't know what it is about drivers, but they love to lie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's so weird. Like, I feel like a lot of them are really not happy with their situation or the company that they're working at. But misery loves company, so they're just trying to bring on more people, thinking that then maybe they'll have somebody to talk to about it and complain about their problems with. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, I've had guys, like, when you meet just a driver from another company or your company, you don't really, care how many miles they're doing or something like that. I've had drivers over the years this is not just like one or two, this is a lot of drivers where they'll say, hey, I'm doing, for example, as a solo driver, I'm doing 3,000 miles a week or something like that. And I'm like, oh, really? Or they'll say 3,500 miles a week they're doing. And it's like, you're doing that every week? Yeah, I'm doing that every week. And I'm making, $1,500 or this or that. Or drivers will tell you they'll make $70,000 or whatever, 80,000, etc. That's how much they're making. And a lot of the time, I don't even ask them, to know these things, because most of these guys who are bragging like this are solo drivers.
Yes.
We're team drivers. I don't really care what a solo driver is doing. And but for some reason, drivers love to brag about how much they're doing. And it's just not, like I said, 9 out of 10 times, it's BS.
And the funny part is that for the most part, if you just contact a company and ask how much they pay, you know how much they're paying per mile. So if somebody's saying they're doing X amount of miles, you can do the math, and a lot of times it does not add up at all.
So this leads to number two, and in trucking, I feel this is a very dangerous thing. I don't mean like you're gonna die or anything like that, but this is your career, and drivers will always quit. Now, another thing that you got to know about that is, in trucking, the turnover is 100%. So drivers are changing companies all the time. And so these guys will go to a new company, and it's hilarious to me because they'll start a new company, and then a week later, hey, my company is so great, come on over, and things like that.
It's the best company. They immediately start recruiting other people.
Yeah, and it's like, wait, how do you know that company is a good company after only 1 week there, or 1 day, or 1 month? You have to give it like 6 months to a year to really know if a company is good. But this is a problem in trucking. In trucking. The drivers will brag about their new company, and then they'll try to tell their friends to come over. So drivers will try to recruit their friends to the companies. And this is the dirty secret about trucking. So what a lot of these trucking companies do is they offer their drivers an incentive. So if you're able to get a driver over to your company, you're able to get like money from your company. So for example, like our company, if you bring a new driver, that is a driver with no experience, they I believe it's $250. I believe they give our would give us. And if we are able to bring an experienced solo driver, they would give us $1,000. And then if we're able to bring an experienced team, $3,000. So what's crazy about it is, for example, at our company, that solo driver or that new driver, the team or whatever, once they deliver their first load, just that's it, just their first load, they're gonna give us
That all of the money.
all the
at
money.
once.
Yeah. So
All of the money.
all the
at
money.
once.
Yeah. So some other companies, you know, that driver has to stay there for like 6 months or a year, and then they pay it out, you know, like every quarter or
Yeah.
every month or something like that. But this really drives other drivers to try to recruit their friends and new drivers. So a lot of the time when I'm at the fuel pump or whatever, I don't talk to drivers because they'll try to tell you their company is great, this and that, and they will BS you.
Yes.
And
They're really just trying to get that referral bonus.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, I feel like if you're talking to a driver that has been at their company for quite a while and they're giving you the pros and cons, then, you know, you can pretty much at least halfway trust what they're saying. But if you're talking to a driver and everything is sounding amazing and they're like, yeah, I've worked there 2 weeks, walk away. Just don't even bother. Like, go seek out somebody who has actually worked there, because chances are that person is just trying to get a little bit of money in their pocket from you.
a lot of these drivers that get into trucking, due to the fact that you're working long hours or you're away from home, a lot of them get into trucking because they can't do anything else. They failed at McDonald's, they've, you know, failed at everything, you know, in society, and so they get into trucking as a last resort. And so these guys get out here, they're lonely, they're desperate for money and stuff, and so desperation drives them to do, you know, these kind of things. So number 3 on our list is the lease purchase. And all these companies will try to get you to go through their company and basically buy a truck. And the thing about that is, so that, you know, you can have bad credit, doesn't matter who you are, they will let you lease a truck through them. So what they'll do is they'll give you like large payment every week that you got to make, and then whatever repairs the truck has. So for example, you got a blown tire, you got to pay for that. And in trucking, everything is expensive.
Yes.
So a lot of these guys, they have dreams of buying their own truck, but the thing is, they don't have the money to really be an owner-operator. And so majority of these guys that we meet, they fail at this. And they end up like broke. I've met guys at terminals, which that, you know, like company terminals or at customers, who are doing the lease. They have no money. You know, they can barely buy lunch. Or I've even had one guy when we were in LA call up his cousin to take him out to lunch because he had no money. And I remember talking to him saying, "Hey man, you know, you're not doing well on this. Just why not give it up?" But they really hold out hope that somehow that they, you know, they'll make the money and stuff, even though they failed at it this whole time.
I feel like the lease purchase is kind of the pyramid scheme of trucking. So you have things like Mary Kay, LuLaRoe, any of those like women's type of pyramid schemes. The lease purchase is the man's pyramid scheme. So you're gonna go in there, they sell you all these dreams, you sign up, and then once you're out there not making any money, they're telling you, well, if you can get people to come on, bring somebody else onto the lease purchase program, we'll give you $5,000, $10,000. You know, if you bring on X amount of people, we'll make one of your truck payments, whatever it is. And so then, even though you're miserable, you're turning around and saying, lease purchase is freaking amazing. You're going to make so much money. You're telling all these lies because you're going to benefit from it. And it just is a never-ending cycle. It's like the company driver referral program, but on steroids. That's why everyone tells you that the lease purchase is amazing.
So let me tell you a story, guys. This is when my wife and I, our truck broke down. We were heading to the hotel. We got an Uber to give us a ride over to the hotel. And it turned out he's a truck driver. So we're talking to him because we told him we're truck drivers and all that. He's telling us how he is doing the lease purchase, life is good, he's making a lot of money, it's the best thing he ever did in his life. And so we start talking and stuff like that. It turns out though, this truck actually broke down and he hasn't been using it for like, I think 6 months or something like that. Turns out because somehow he's making a lot of money, but he doesn't have money to fix the truck. So what he was doing he was Uber, and then he's got a friend who has a second truck, so he was driving for his friend, trying to raise money to fix this truck. And my wife and I are like looking at each other going, wait a minute, dude, you spent like 5-10 minutes telling us how you're making so much money by having, you know, owning your own truck and stuff, but yet you can't fix it. We didn't, you know, at that point we just was like, okay, this guy, yeah, I'm not gonna, I don't want to ask any more questions. Obviously, he's just a weirdo, you know, typical trucker, I should say. So we stopped that conversation because that's a great example. Something about drivers, man. They're
a little bit of a pathological liar.
Yeah, I don't even think they realize it. Yeah. I don't think they realize that they're like making no sense here. But that's trucking, so you like I said, be really careful with drivers because we're
normal though. We promise.
Yeah, no, don't even trust us. You know, like I always tell people, don't even trust me. Just trust yourself in trucking. If you trust yourself and look out for you, you'll be fine. Number 4 on my list that really drives me nuts is when you're backing at a truck stop. A lot of these guys will get on the CB and, oh, look at this guy, he's gonna hit the truck, and you know, make all these jokes. And you know, it's like the guy might be struggling a little. Maybe he's new to trucking, or you know what, he might be the best driver in the world, but he probably had a tough day and he's struggling here. And these guys will just sit on the CB and talking a lot of trash and having a good time.
Yeah.
They think of it as entertainment. So I never understood that, because you know what? How about you just get out and help him safely get into that parking spot? You know? And
if you don't want to do that, then why are you even sitting up in the cab of your truck at the end of a day anyway? Why aren't you in the back just chilling out, you know? Right. Step away from the job. Seriously. I can't tell you how many people you drive through the truck stop and they're just sitting in the front of their truck just watching everything as if that's their TV. You know? Guys, get a TV in the truck.
Yeah.
Step away from the front.
Be positive. And you know what? Help your fellow driver. So number 5 is another thing at the truck stop, and it really drives me nuts, is how dirty these truck stops will be because of truckers. So some of these guys, you know, when they're parked at the truck stop, they're too lazy to walk inside to use their bathroom. So some of them will pee in a bottle or whatever and dump it outside on the ground. And then you walk through a truck stop and it smells like urine. Not all truck stops, some of them. And it always amazes me that drivers will dirty the places that are designed for us to go get food, park for the night. It's like spreading diseases. And the other thing is, even you go to the bathrooms, they'll mess it up, man.
Yeah.
They will like just like, you know.
Bathrooms that like customers. Ugh. Sometimes these customers won't even allow us to use the restroom because the rest of the drivers have like ruined the whole situation. So now, you know, I go in and they're like, no, you can't use the bathroom here. And it's like, but I'm normal.
Yeah.
and the other people have just ruined it for everyone else. It's
really a tragedy, because when a customer won't let you use their bathroom, you know it's because of another trucker.
Yes.
And, you know, it's just a tragedy, because you just want to be able to use the bathroom. You want to pee. You don't want to hold it in. You don't want to go looking for a place to, you know, it's just a tragedy. So drivers, you know, come on, man.
Step it up.
Step it up, exactly.
You know, too many of us, like, we all know that the general public kind of thinks of truckers as being like the stereotypical trucker, filthy, you know, running all over the road, acting like they own it, just being dirty and not the kind of person that you would want to encounter.
Right.
And then you're out there perpetuating that stereotype.
Yep. So next on the list is the lack of parking. This really drives me nuts, because as a nighttime driver, I got to pull over and do my 30-minute break that the government requires. And trying to find parking just for 30 minutes is not easy and is very frustrating. So I wish the government would make a bigger effort on the interstate to have more rest areas or more truck parking areas.
Yes.
Or at the very least, these states would allow us to park on on-ramps or off-ramps, or you know, they just have a nice enough, like a wide area where I can park on the on-ramp or something like that. Just do my 30-minute break, or my, you know, if I'm a solo driver, 10-hour break. It would be nice if we had more parking across the country.
And to that end also, even at a rest area where you do have some parking, don't park like a jerk. Come on now.
Yeah.
Like, I can't tell you how many times, like, it's full daylight, you know, and I pull in, there's nobody on either side of me. I'm like, cool, I'm going to be able to leave. And then somebody pulls in next to me so close and they pull up very far to where it's like almost impossible to pull out without hitting them. Think about these things.
So another thing that I don't like about trucking, and that is when we started that teams were special, that they were treated like gold. Not the case at all. You know, you get a little bit benefit, or you get a little bit better treatment, but really, no, you're not treated like gold.
Exactly.
Like some companies might have like a policy where they'll bring your truck in sooner compared to a solo driver or something like that. But realistically, you know, I've talking to friends who are teams that work at other companies and all that kind of good stuff. Industry-wide, teams really are not that special. Now, the only benefit is, I would say, more than likely the teams are husband and wife teams and stuff. So at least that all that storage in the truck and all that kind of stuff is theirs. But really, like with companies and all this kind of stuff, you're not really treated any better. So the next thing on the list is all weigh stations are different. This really drives me nuts because you know what, I struggled with this because every state has a different procedure on how to go to their weigh station. Like in my previous video, I told you in Florida, I remember going in one for like at 40 miles an hour. Another is like 10 miles an hour.
3.
Yeah, 3. The one in...
Or they'll have like loaded and empty lanes.
California, they have a one that was like 30 miles an hour. And then you know what, then like 20 feet down, you have to slow down to like, what is it, 5 or 10 miles an hour or something like that. It's really frustrating because they have all kinds of procedures. These places are not well lit. And the other thing is the signs that give you the directions, they're like the little signs you got to be like scanning.
That's the thing that annoys me. In the last one, we talked about that New Mexico weigh station right at the top of the mountain.
I-25.
Yeah, exactly.
I-25 near the Colorado-New Mexico border.
Dude, every time I have to go through that one, I'm scared because you're pulling in there and they have the little tiny like lit up signs on the side, but they need to change the light bulbs in them or something because it's so dim that you can't tell whether it's lighting up telling you to pull forward and leave or if it's telling you to park and bring your paperwork. So every time I roll through it, I'm just kind of like, I'm going to assume it's green and I'm just going to kind of go. And if somebody comes out like, you know, chasing me, I guess I'll pull over. Like, because they make it so difficult to tell where you're even supposed to go.
One time I was in North Dakota and it was just a tiny little weigh station. The lady was inside working. She was on her phone. And so as I'm driving through it, she's like this to me. So I don't know what you would view that as, but to me it was considered, come on in, I want to take a look at your paperwork. I immediately walk in the door and she starts yelling at me. Why? Because she said, I told you to go, not come in. So is this...
This is like come in,
toward,
right? Not go away.
Or how about just say that or something like that. And she,
or just ignore us.
Yeah. So she yelled at me, told me I shouldn't have come in. You know what, she was mad is because I interrupted her phone conversation with her boyfriend or, you know, whoever. So, weigh stations, please, get it together, be more uniform in the way you guys do things. This is number 9 on the list, and it is the lack of home time in trucking.
Yes.
It really is frustrating for us because when we started, a lot of these trucking companies, their policy is for every week that you're out, you get 1 day home.
But you typically have to stay out at least 3 weeks to get that day off per week.
So you stay out 3 weeks, you get 3 days home. You know, you stay out 4 weeks, you get 4 days home. And some companies, you can stay out 8 weeks, but they're only going to give you 4 days at home. It doesn't matter how many weeks you stayed out. 4 days is the max. And so you really...
I mean, any other job, like you're going to work 5 days a week and get 2 days off, whether it's retail or a 9 to 5 or whatever it is. Typically, even if it's not the weekend, you'll at least have 2 days off. Trucking, you get the 1 day.
So this is the lack of home time is one of the reasons why drivers are quitting all the time. Because what kind of policy is that? They want you to stay out 3 weeks and you get 3 days at home, that's it. You know, you can't have a life that way.
Yeah.
And so... You know, there's companies out there that are more generous with their home time and stuff, but the lack of home time in this industry is not good, and they need to work on that.
Yeah.
And
now, the last thing, which is my big one, is people on the road, and typically it's other, like, truck drivers that make it just terrible to be on the road with them. Whether it's trying to pass and, you know, they want to go slow, and as soon as you try to pass, they want to speed up, or you're going a little bit faster and they don't just want to like accommodate you just to let you in. You know, that mentality of, let me just hold you back from something just for the hell of it. I hate that.
See, because the thing is, majority of the trucks, they're governed. They're governed at like 60 miles an hour or 65 or 70. Like our company, they're governed at 68 miles an hour. So if you're trying to pass another truck that's governed at 68, it's going to be difficult. And so sometimes these drivers, you know, maybe they're like doing something and they're not driving 68 miles an hour. They're driving 65 or 60. And then you decide to go past them. And what happens is I don't know what it is. It's like they take it as an insult or something, and then they will step on the gas. And now you got two trucks trying to pass each other, and it's just, and then what happens is behind you got like a million trucks backed up, cars backed up, and then
people
cars
are getting mad.
Yeah, now then the cars hate truckers because of it, and then somebody has to give.
And what happens whenever you're the one trying to pass, they're not letting you, you get back behind them, slow down again. I can't stand that.
This is very common, and it's very frustrating. So if you do this, cut it out. Yeah, grow up.
Exactly. Like, if you want to go 60 miles an hour, do it. Just do it. It doesn't matter. We'll pass you. But don't go 60 and then speed up to 68 and then slow back down to 60. Just let people pass, because it is so frustrating and annoying. And all it does is make other people then get so angry whenever they're stuck behind someone like that, that they then drive recklessly whenever they're, you know, passing you. They'll cut you off, even though it's not your fault. They'll cut you off because they're mad at somebody else. It's a bad situation all around.
And, you know, it's just not the guys who are governed at like 65 or 60. These owner-operators, they're the guys who own their own truck and trailer and stuff. And they're typically ungoverned, so they can go their truck is able to go as fast as it wants. And these guys can do like 80, 85 miles an hour if they want to. And those guys, they're the worst at it, because they will be on the phone doing paperwork or whatever the heck they're doing. And then when you, as a governed truck, company driver, whatever, tries to pass them, they will take that as an insult or something, and they will speed up and play this game. And then 10 miles down the road, they're doing the same damn thing, and then you got to try to pass them. And it's a game, and it's just like a power trip with these guys.
Yeah, and what I love also is some guys, you will be passing them perfectly fine. You're just like scooting right on through. As soon as you get up to their window and they see that you're, in my instance, a woman, they speed up, because they cannot stand to be passed by a woman, apparently. It's just so ridiculous, and that happens so often. Like, they're perfectly fine going slow until they see it's a woman truck driver. Then they can't be having that.
So guys, that's the things we don't like about trucking. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Or did we leave something out? Share with us in the comment section, and, you know, let's discuss.
And before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, give us a like, and share this with your family and friends. See you guys next time. Bye!